This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano and Nick Morgasen.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much to every single one of you for supporting me, my family, my friends, teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Dolan country, fuck off. Yeah, and that goes for the rest of you. That's the mood I'm feeling right now, looking at our rundown sheet.
Welcome to the marathon. Tune in. Make sure you grab a popcorn, a drink, and a snack. This is going to be the longest episode in Empty the Bench podcast network history.
I'll be thankful if it's not. I will be so thankful if it's not.
Make sure you follow the show on social media at ETB Sports, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you follow the podcast network, Empty the Bench Podcast Network at ETB Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you go and like and subscribe to youtube.com/ETB Network, especially because we're going to give you an extra long episode this week.
I like how you're the upbeat one this week, and I'm the one who's just like, why? Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. But we have a lot to get into this week. Unfortunately, like the way this show happens every week, to go behind the curtain again, we put the show together. We plan for what we think the top stories are, and then the sports world decides to yak all over us, and then we have to change it.
So I have been so busy in my work life, which is why we've basically had to delay the show, because last minute I said it's just not going to happen, which actually ended up being, I didn't tell Nick this behind the curtain, but for good, because I beat my deadline by like 10 minutes today.
Holy shit, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So for that reason, after the Sean Payton news had dropped, I said, screw this, we need to delay it a day. Well, I guess it's good that we delayed it a day, considering if you recognize the voice that we were playing in the intro.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but just protect your ears, because I'm about to play something that usually you say I play louder, but you're going to hear this a lot during today's show.
Are you saying I should have today's show on mute? Like, I should mute you and just respond to what I think you're saying, as if we were reading each other's lips, playing charades? Is that how we should do today?
The problem is, when you play charades, it's going to be very obvious with a lot of these news bites. But just to give you an idea of what's going to happen in this show, because usually we don't have this much news to get through. The NFL news is big. And by the way, we're not talking about going to the Super Bowl yet. That's a week away from today.
Yeah.
So, as Tom started to allude to, Sean Payton is a coach of a franchise we didn't expect. Yes.
Do I play the music now, or do I play it later?
Nope. Save it for later. Make everybody wait.
Okay.
Also, there's a convoluted part to this story as well, which includes a trade for a head coach, which, you know my opinion, I think that's stupid when you trade for a coach. Also, on top of that, DeMeco Ryans, who is now the Texans head coach, was attached to this story as well, because the Broncos, before officially trading for Sean Payton, tried to sign DeMeco Ryans in desperation at the last minute. So that's all twisted together. Also, from Ian Rappaport on Pat McAfee show, yours and my fruition is finally coming true with Lamar Jackson.
Franchise tag, here we come.
Right. And on top of all that, yes, we will review the games from championship weekend after all that other news came down the pike.
Also, it might not just be the end of an era for one quarterback. It might be the end of an era in a different sense for another certain quarterback over in Cheesehead land.
Don't even remind me, because it's giving me nightmares about where he could possibly end up. On top of another coach who is now the offensive coordinator for a team I despise at the moment. Also, we'll get into all the other coaching moves. There's a lot of coaching moves. Also, I hate to say this, but we're going to talk about James Dolan.
I already gave you this motion before we started recording, based on the fact it was going to be a marathon episode. Now saying those two names together makes me want to move it from the head to the mouth.
Wait a minute. There's one more. There's also a LeBron story.
Well, that's your territory. Not
Also, Stenson Bennett from Georgia, apparently arrested for public intoxication. Yeah, there's a lot.
Idiot.
And on top of that, your favorite UFC oh my God. UFC fighter. Let's try that again. Yes, folks, it's going to be a long show. So I'm going to say a lot of dumb things.
Oh, and by the way, I'm wearing Dustin's shirt. Which, by the way, for those who watched MMA Outsiders, yes, I'm still in the same clothes. I recorded Outsiders before this, and now I have this marathon on my plate.
But yes, I'm making Tom suffer through the final topic being Conor McGregor at the end of the show.
I will never want to broadcast again after today.
All right, we have a lot to get into. We're 8 minutes in. We haven't discussed anything yet. So
do we have to get to the thing?
Oh yeah. So I'm going to say something professionally, because I've had to deal with this before in the business. Okay. That things come and go. When you work with a large group of people, sometimes opinions don't always agree. And sometimes when people have one opinion and the person has another opinion, they don't always work together. So sometimes you make decisions to protect people. Sometimes you make decisions because it will save their mental health in some aspects. Okay, that's the way I kind of see it.
So, I shall read the statement then?
Go ahead.
Okay. After discussions regarding his mental health and differences in philosophy, Empty the Bench and Nick Federa have parted ways. Nick was one of the founding fathers of this network, and we'd like to thank him for his 6 years of contributions, stretching back to the days of the Unspoken podcast, up to Empty the Bench, and then, of course, the network itself. It's a major disappointment. Nick Federa is not going to be part of our brand anymore, but his place in history of this network is not going to be forgotten. You know, whether it's the hilarious hot takes, whether it's his expression of his true diehard fandom of the Yankees and the Giants and the Rangers, the out of the blue comparisons, the metaphors, the over the topness that has cracked us all up. Especially cracked me up, Hank from Game On.
Well, no, I still think the greatest clip of all time is obviously the Jello and dildo quote. God, I told you, strap it. Oh God, I didn't even mean it that way. I didn't even mean it that way. I wasn't even trying to do that. But strap in. It's going to be a long episode, and there's going to be a lot of weird things being said.
I want to do to you right now. Seriously, I'm trying to have a sense of in a moment, and you say crap like that. So Nick Federa, who has been host of Empty the Bench, Beyond the Bench, ETV Network. Served briefly as the first editor for the blog. The network will still go on, but I just wanted to take this time to say thank you. I don't have an alcoholic drink right now. I do have to go to work tomorrow, so I raise my water to Nick Videra. Thank you for the memories, buddy, and see you soon.
Yeah, and again, we're all allowed to have difference in opinions. That's what makes what we do fun. Like if we didn't have difference in opinions and we just agreed 24/7, that wouldn't be fun. So it has nothing to do with doing the shows together, the three of us, or when I did shows with him on Beyond, or when we did our live streams, or when we did anything. I think he just needed to step away for a while and get his life together.
Well, all I can say is, I don't know how you feel, but maybe one day we can have Nick back. One day, hopefully, there can be a day where the three of us are together again.
Let me put it this way. I'm not opposed to anything. It just things needed to change for a little while. That's all. Like in that regard.
Okay, I'm glad you used the word change because maybe we should address it now. There's going to use change. You brought up outsiders. There's going to be quite a few more changes going on.
Not the hosts of the shows. Let's be clear. Just where they're going to be scheduled.
Yes. So I mentioned my personal life with my outside of this job. Well, Zen, as some of you guys know, is a graduate student over at Northwestern. He wears it very loud and proud on his social media.
And he's good at what he does, too. I give him a lot of credit.
Absolutely. He is taking a Monday class. So as a result, going behind the curtain, our little strategy of recording on Monday nights and uploading them for Tuesday mornings are not going to suit with him. However, given my schedule and the responsibilities going around here, it would mean having to record twice within a day, and I just don't want to do that anymore, at least not after next week, because Zan's going to the Super Bowl next week, so maybe there'll be some good network content there.
Oh, no, you and I have spoken to him about stuff already, and he's going to be at Radio Row.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be at Radio Row.
I'm jealous of him. I can't wait. So, with that being said, beginning after the Super Bowl, so the Super Bowl is on Sunday the 12th.
Yep.
So beginning February 16th, Empty the Bench is going to move to Thursday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Next week will be our final record on Tuesday, broadcast on Wednesday show.
Yeah, the show's not going anywhere. It's just moving days.
Yeah, we're just doing a lot of flipping around. I know Game On's also been a little...
Well, because like you, Johnny's been having some work issues also. So, but I think he's finally getting his schedule back on track. You're kind of getting back into the thick of things finally, and we'll be fine. But
so I wanted to get all the network changes out of the way.
No shows are leaving or going anywhere. It's just making all the schedule pieces fit.
Beyond the Bench is going under a little rebranding.
Okay, so I'll talk about that quickly because I want to make sure we have time to do all the sports stuff. But so I have some friends who I did radio with. I have them, and I'm talking to someone. I'm probably stepping away from Beyond the Bench, and I'm gonna let my friend rebrand it. I think it needs a change, and it won't be Beyond anymore, probably for the time being. But it will still be a pop culture show. It will have some comedy. It will have interview stuff. I probably won't be hosting it anymore. I want to focus more on this show, and I want to focus more on us together running the network. So that's where I want to be. So
that is all out of the way. All right. I think it's time to start with the news that has basically, like I said, made me a little bit of a blessing that we delayed the episode this week. That being that for the second straight year on February 1st, we have a retirement announcement from Tom Brady. Now, as you may know, Tom Brady did announce his retirement on February 1st of 2022. That was, well, I shouldn't say announced. That was the reported date when Adam Schefter released the information saying that Brady was done, which Brady then followed up with the announcement that he was done only for a little more than a month later to say, yeah, no, I'm back.
40 days.
Yeah, 40 days. And then that brought us the marvelous scandal of the deterioration of the relationship between Tom Brady and Giselle.
I
And
mean,
then that also brought us
Yeah.
this disastrous Bucs season, which they managed to win a playoff spot with an 8-9 record because the rest of the NFC South sucked.
well, and also the Cowboys. But
How about them Cowboys?
we'll get to them later. But this whole thing, when I saw this news, first of all, I was like under a rock sleeping because I was tired the last couple of days doing stuff for the network. Then I wake up and I'm like, Tom Brady retired. Wait, what? Am I being punked? Like, is Ashton Kutcher gonna come out of the woodworks and say like, ha ha? And I'm like, and then I see it everywhere, and I'm like, oh god, it's real. And then I see the announcement, and you just heard it. Well, not just heard, but if you listen to the intro at the top of the show here, I put in the full retirement announcement. Of course, Mr. Luxury on a beach, giving his little announcement about being retired.
I saw somebody with a funny tweet saying, "Imagine if you're on the dunes, just walking your dog, and then like a good few feet away from you, oh look, there's Tom Brady announcing his retirement from the National Football League."
I mean, first of all, like every other piece of content, excuse me, that he does, it's so canned, it's not even funny. Like he doesn't even try to be natural when he records content. Like I've tried listening to Let's Go, the Sirius XM show that he does.
Yes, with
It's
Larry Fitzgerald and
Jim Gray,
yeah.
and it's so canned. He doesn't even try to be natural at all. Like it's and I'm like, oh,
You're saying basically he's a machine.
he was a machine for 22 years in the
Okay,
National
fair
Football
enough. Fair enough.
League, but yes, he sounds like a robot every time he does content. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone thinks, oh my God, what's he going to do? Let's not forget 10 years, $375 million contract with Fox Sports. Now, interestingly enough, on the itinerary for the Super Bowl, not on the Fox Sports list. So who knows if he's going to be there? I mean, he'll be there.
He'll be there. I say nothing will be official until next season. So what does that mean for Greg Olsen? Is he getting bumped back down to B team?
I'm not okay with that, to be honest with you. I think Greg Olsen has deserved the spot, to be honest. Tom Brady, what is Tom Brady? Tom Brady has no experience in the booth. Now, people are going to argue and say, well, Tony Romo, which, by the way, has sounded like the biggest asshole the last couple of weeks. And by the way, did you see the little incident he almost put himself in?
I don't know, Nick.
Did you see the little almost N-word he said on the broadcast?
Oh my God.
I'm not even joking. If you go on Twitter, it's everywhere, the clip. And I said, what the fuck? What? And people were all over.
Hold on. I have the sound effect for that. You literally.
What the fuck? That's what I was thinking. Like, literally. Like, are you kidding me? Like, he went to say it, and he's like, he cut himself off, literally, as he was saying it. I was like, wow. And now people, it's funny, though, because when he was the hot commodity, everyone was paying him. I think he got like $120 million or something from CBS. And like everyone was the hot commodity. And now people are like, well, he's past his prime. I'm like, what?
And actually, you know what's funny? I remember there was a little bit of controversy, a little bit of criticism in CBS's way because him going to CBS meant Phil Simms was taking the backseat.
You know what, though? Phil Simms was not really the best in the booth, in my opinion. Like, he just seemed angry all the time sitting in the booth. Like, he seems so much happier sitting in the studio with all the guys.
Well, that was going to be my question. Is that where you see Brady? Do you see him as a studio person?
I'm surprised that Brady was willing to go in the booth. Like, I thought because you'd most players, like, I'll give you a prime example. Peyton Manning, who literally does the Manning cast. I think they do it 10 weeks out of the year, if I'm not mistaken, out of a possible 17.
Yeah.
and they have the Omaha Productions company with all the podcasting and the TV stuff, and Peyton made it very clear, I'm not traveling for a 17-week season. I thought Tom Brady would be the same way.
That's what I thought. But then again, I was going to say, I didn't think Tom Brady was also going to be the kind of person to go into broadcasting. But then again, we've also had the stories this MLB offseason that the Yes Network was trying to pursue Derek Jeter as well. And I didn't think Derek Jeter would be in a broadcast booth.
The problem, well, I shouldn't say the problem, the difference between Derek and Tom Brady, Derek has a lot more outside interests besides baseball. Tom, even though he's got a lot of business acumen outside the NFL, he loves football. Like in more like it
so much that he destroyed his own relationship and marriage.
I mean, and this is going to sound awful when I say it, but in my opinion, if that happened anyway, their relationship was already deteriorating, even if he didn't play anymore.
I guess I can kind of see it, but here's my question for you then, Nick. Do you think he came out of retirement last year and played another season just to spite Adam Schefter? And if so, was it worth it? Honestly, was it worth it even anyways to play this extra season? Because I don't think it was.
Are you talking about even before the whole outcome of this season?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have to. He really didn't have to. He win the Super Bowl the year before? I mean,
I'd say not in his last year, but not in what would have been his last year, but what would have been his second to last, which is now his third to last year.
All right. So, in my opinion, and I still stick by it, after he had won the Super Bowl, he should have walked away. He should have walked away once he won the Super Bowl with the Bucs and said, "I'm done." He would have he could have gone to any of the NFL properties and gotten a job. That would have not been an issue for him.
He would have gotten the Peyton Manning treatment after going out on top.
That's my point. Like, there was no reason for Tom Brady to play 2 more seasons. There wasn't. Tom Brady was doing it because he's trying to be old Iron Man. He's trying to be Cal Ripken. Like, now, let me be careful with that because in MLB, it's less likely to be hurt than you are in the NFL. So you're going to take 10 times more wear and tear in the NFL than you are in MLB.
But do you think? Well, go to my first question first. Do you think him coming back for the season was just because of Schefter, or did he really think that he had a little bit more left?
And I've seen this in media, interviews and stuff that he's done, and now that he has his own podcast / radio show property, it's a little hard to run from stuff because now he has to talk about everything that goes on with him. But he can't run. So I think he won't admit it, but I think Schefter pushed his ass back onto the field. I think Schefter did it because Tom Brady doesn't lay down for anybody.
He wants to write something his way, like he did with this one. Considering that he is now basically the one announcing his own retirement, I guess maybe he thinks it was worth it. I personally disagree because I know some people have problems with Schefter breaking the story before Brady could. However, I have to think about, I know you mentioned maybe their relationship was deteriorating anyway, but the fact that it was only a 40-day retirement and all the off-season drama that happened with Brady and Giselle up to the point where he had taken days off from training camp and people had eyebrows raised toward him. The fact that the Buccaneers basically struggled this season and Tom Brady had to basically force them to an 8-9 record to get into the postseason and got destroyed by the Cowboys. I as much as I know people might be a little disappointed with Schefter from what happened last year, I don't know if it was truly worth it for Tom Brady to come back for 2020.
Well, all right, let's point something else out so we're telling both sides of the stories. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to tell the Tom Brady story, we got to talk about the media side of this as well. Okay. So, and you and I know this about Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter is not exactly the most, I don't know what I want to say, up to par media personality, if you know what I mean.
I think, Nick, here's where I'm going to say. I think there is a split between, you have to let him make his own ending. But then there also is that job of a journalist of when you get a story and you get a confirmation, that's his job. His job is to break news.
I mean, and I'll go back to the list when we talked about big time personalities big time insider personalities in sports. Adam Schefter for the NFL, Adrian Wojnarowski for the NBA, Passon for baseball, Heyman for baseball.
That's why ESPN has hired these people. Well, Heyman's not at ESPN. He's
Right, but I'm just talking about in general insiders and sometimes being an insider is a shitty job. No, and I mean that in the most honest and sincere way, because your life 24/7 is with 3 cell phones like Adam Schefter is, and he doesn't have a life.
I was gonna say he's trapped in a room basically just talking to sources all day.
But I'm talking about in the off season of all times, because technically, if you think about it, the NFL is the only one that really is a year-round news maker. If you
Yeah.
think about it, so because like with MLB, you get an off season. There's really no news happening. In the NBA, maybe in the NHL, you don't hear anything in the off season.
Yeah, like
So
with MLB, the weeks of Christmas and New Year's, you're probably not too busy.
I mean, except from the winter meetings, but
Yeah, I know, but Christmas is always after the winter meetings.
right. But I'm just saying, anytime around December, you're not hearing anything.
Yeah.
But with Schefter, and I know this, people will throw things at me. I don't really care. But Schefter is not the clean cut media reporter that everyone thinks he is.
Well, granted, he has had his share of controversies. You're right.
And I've told you this story, and we've confirmed it because it's been out there. He gives gifts to sources.
Oh,
Okay.
that's in the accusation. I was thinking more along the lines of some stuff from the past year. The whole thing with Bruce Allen, where he sent a story to them, which is a very big no-no in journalism. You do not.
He was basically saying edit it, right? Essentially.
Yeah, like approving for edits and such, which is not.
That's
something you're supposed to do.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Especially with a team like the Washington Commanders.
First of all, I wouldn't send anything within 100 feet to the Commanders at this point.
Also the insensitive tweet after the Dwayne Haskins death.
That was bad. Oh, him and the other guy we called out.
I was gonna say, well, granted, it wasn't as bad as Gil Hodges' comments about that he lived to die.
Wait, Gil
Some people
Hodges?
just should not have a microphone by them. Let's put it that way.
Right. It was bad. Like those. I don't know. What I give a lot of credit to Schefter because he breaks a lot of stories, but at the same time, you have no life. You can't go on a vacation without 3 cell phones on you. I mean, he's told stories that he's got 2 other cell phones for work. And like they did I was watching some ESPN insider stuff on Twitter. They literally showed him running from studio to studio for like the NFL trade deadline or NFL news days. Like that's not fun. It's horrible.
I mean, the thing is, the joy. You're supposed to take this pride in your work, enjoying your work. At the end of the day, you do have to enjoy this job.
Now, I heard that he makes like $9 to $10 million. Now, I'll ask you the same question. I think you know what I'm going to ask. Is $9 to $10 million worth all the headache of being an insider?
I mean, I don't know if you're exactly asking the right person because I'm not that kind. Only because
I'm talking about where you literally have to report on a league, like breaking stories that you might not even know it could piss off a bunch of people.
I think it would be. I think it honestly would be worth it because I mean, you're making a decent chunk of change. People know who you are. I know there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it. Yes,
but that literally means you have no family life. You can't go on a vacation without having 3 cell phones on you, and you're constantly waiting for the next source, even when you're not working.
That's Nick is unfortunately the life of an insider.
It's amazing how that's become like a job, being an insider.
I mean, I was just saying what I said before, Nick, because I, my when it comes to my media stuff, it's independent contractor. So that
Well, you've broken a few stories here and there, though, haven't you?
I don't know about broken is the right word.
Or have gotten to it first.
Gotten to it first, yeah, a couple of times.
That's all, and it's always hard being the first person to get to a story.
And
Also.
honestly, in most cases, it's just my little philosophy of going through, this industry. Doesn't seem like people really care, like who is the first. As long as you're like a name or something, people will say that, oh, it's official. Like,
I disagree, actually. I think it's for all these insiders, it is about who's first.
for the insiders, yes, but what I'm saying is if Joe Schmo on the street, he'll click on the breaking story, but he doesn't care if it's Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport.
Oh, from that standpoint, correct.
Yeah,
no one cares.
No one's gonna remember who broke what story unless there's something really controversial.
I mean, heck, let's go back to an incident that just happened in Major League Baseball because they tried to rush who was first. That's how. Hello, Arson Judge.
Arson Judge, yes.
I mean, the one thing I will say about insiders is sometimes they're a little, and I was going to say borderline, but they are really obsessed with being first. Well, because they want to be heard, they want their names heard on SportsCenter or whatever it is. Well, according to Jeff Passan, MLB such and such news breaks. Or now that might be a bad option there because technically ESPN has 3 MLB insiders. They Passan, Olney, and Kirchin. I mean, so.
Nick, see, this is the first time we've had this kind of incident in baseball since 1947, when during a game between the Tigers and the Twins.
I love that about Kirchin, though. That's what I love, that he brings the history to it.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I just remember there was that one Cubs player that basically took the piss out of him with his impersonation.
Well, you gotta like the Scott Van Pelt impersonation of Tim Kirchin. That's the best.
Scott Van Pelt is good. Eric Holland.
Yes. But all right, let's try to get back to the Tom Brady thing. So,
it was JPR.
Oh, Aaron Sabia.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, back to Brady.
But long story short, this should have happened 2 seasons ago. It should have happened 2 seasons ago when he won the Super Bowl. He could have gone up on the podium and said, F you, Patriots. I did it on my own. I didn't need you. And it would have been warranted. It literally would have been warranted.
Well, do you think some of his legacy has been tarnished by him coming back for this last season?
No.
Yeah, okay, good.
He's won 7 rings. He's got a record. I mean, no one's winning 7 rings in this lifetime, I'll tell you that. And don't give me Patrick Mahomes.
I was going to say, Patrick Mahomes accepts your challenge.
Well, what? He has 1. And he's been to the... Well, what I will say, what has he been to the Super Bowl? 3 out of the last 5 years or something?
This is gonna be his 3rd and 5.
Which is crazy, by the way. And I think they might have a good chance to win again this year, which we're a little early on that. But Tom Brady, if he's not a unanimous Hall of Famer, there's something wrong with the writers.
Well, there's something wrong with the baseball writers too, but
we didn't even have time to get to that nonsense. But yeah, Tom Brady retires. It looks like it's real. The thing is, though,
we'll see on March by March 15th if that's true or not.
What I will say is the NFL stands for not for long.
Correct. And considering there's a bit of a situation over in San Francisco about quarterbacks.
That was a rumor.
Nick, 2 and 2 kind of makes sense a little bit.
Well, now that Brock Purdy, I'm not going to go all the way into it now, but Brock Purdy with the UCL tear.
And Jimmy G unlikely to be with the team next season.
That quote was so stupid by Shanahan. Stupid. What the hell are you doing? But I'm starting to think Shanahan is not a smart guy.
You think so?
Because everyone is saying, oh my God, he's a genius. A genius that lost, 40-7 or something? I mean, you didn't even have the wherewithal to challenge the first call on that amazing catch that was a drop.
All right. Is it time?
Time for what? Oh, time for
Is it time?
the coaching carousel? Oh, or that. Yes, it's time.
Well,
yes.
You know what? It's perfect because this is carousel music that I'm about to play.
Yes.
So, guys, even though it is the off season for this team and we have one more game we have to go in the NFL season, this team is not involved with it. Well, guess what? It's not going away. Yes, it's still here. Let's ride.
Why?
This music is great. I will not get old. This music is never going to get old. For now.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
Let's ride. Let's ride for what? Well, let's ride to this.
Yeah, so you were
Adam Schefter.
well, you were kind of in a trance the last couple days. And so then I see this break. Per Adam Schefter, of all people, Saints and Broncos are finalizing compensation in return for Sean Payton. This clears the way for Payton to sign with the Broncos to become the next head coach. And yes, the music says it all. Broncos country, let's ride. Now we're going to hear all the pop-em circumstance of Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And basically, now it's going to be, oh my God, Sean Payton's the quarterback whisperer, and he's going to get Russell Wilson to be the number one quarterback in the league. Oh my God. It's not going to happen.
So, I'm just sitting here and thinking about this. Nick, I understand your frustrations. I understand that maybe we are overreacting a little bit with Sean Payton being the next Broncos head coach. But I do want to remind you of a certain expression. Desperate men do desperate things. And the Broncos right now are a very desperate team.
But this wasn't a Broncos decision. This was a Payton decision. He had plenty of other teams he could have gone to.
Now, that is true. But how much is he going to be making? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be a very big contract with the Broncos.
Oh, they were talking about in terms of $100 million over 5 years, which is insane.
Somewhere between $17 million and $20 million.
Yeah, that's $100 million over 5 years.
Yeah, per year over 5 years. And bear in mind, they also have just gave Russell Wilson last season $165 million in guaranteed money, including that extension. So remember, that's why I said, you know what? For as much as Wilson is declining, Nathaniel Hackett had to be the one to let go because we went over the dead cap for Russell Wilson over the next couple of years. And we said, yeah, congratulations, Denver, you're screwed.
Oh, I can't even play that sound effect anymore. But what I was going to say is, remember we went over how much dead cap it was going to cost if they had cut Russell Wilson. It would have been like $120 million. A dead cap. Think about that for a second. Dead cap, 120, meaning money you can't use.
So at this point, they need to make a switch. So I guess they're being desperate, and they've decided, you know what? Sean Payton is the best coach out there. Let's just throw another boat.
I mean, here's my problem with this. Sean Payton obviously made the choice. This has nothing to do with the Broncos. There were plenty of teams, Broncos, Texans. Do I dare say the Chargers missed out on an opportunity here? No.
We'll pass on Sean Payton, but we'll keep Brandon Staley around.
No, because Spanos, who's the richest fucking owner in all the NFL,
I wish I had sound effect the tree saying "fuck you, Spanos."
I could say that because I'm so annoyed by that situation. But let me throw that out there as well. Who owns the Broncos now?
Oh, isn't it Walmart company?
The Walmart family. Yes. So they have more fucking money than they know what to do with right now. Who knows? Maybe they gave him $150 million. You don't know how they could have thrown a bag of money at him and said, "Hey, Sean, here you go. Do whatever you want."
And Sean would have said,
pretty much, it's all about the money. I've said this before. It's all about the money.
"Hey!"
So I'm not surprised. And this gets very complicated as we're about to explain to you. So Denver traded a 2023 first round pick and a 2024 second rounder to the Saints for a head coach. And on top of that, a 2024 third rounder as well. All this pick compensation for a coach.
Here's the crazy part. So Denver's first round pick in this upcoming NFL draft, they were supposed to have a top 5 pick, and now that's with Seattle because of the whole Russell Wilson trade, and now they're just not going to pick in the first round period because of this.
Right? Yep.
They are
screwed.
thinking that Sean Payton is going to be the answer, that Sean Payton is going to be able to fix Russell Wilson.
Look at all the failure.
I mean,
that's what I have to say.
I guess I was going to ask, well, is there a cure for Russell Wilson, or is this just the start of the decline? I guess I have your answer.
No, this is the start of the decline. Russell Wilson is not fixable. I said this to you, excuse me, before. Oh my God, I'm choking up because of Russell Wilson. Anyway, that Russell Wilson should have stayed in Seattle instead of demanding out. All right, the system was working just fine in Seattle. And Pete Carroll's doing just fine without Russell Wilson in Seattle last time I checked. So
just like the Brady Belichick relationship, we found out who wore the pants in the Wilson and Pete Carroll relationship.
Well, yeah, Pete Carroll obviously won, but Russell Wilson's a dead duck at this point. He's going to make his money, and I remember him coming out and saying, "Well, I could have asked for more money." And I'm like, okay, and so you want to be Aaron Rodgers? Is that the reputation? Is this the reputation you want to have?
RELAX.
You beat me to it.
Is that the reputation you want to have, Russell? Is that the reputation you want to have? And by the way, so you're going to have one of the richest quarterbacks and one of the richest head coaches in history. You better go fucking win. You better go make it 2 rounds deep in the playoffs next year.
Yep.
There's no excuses for next year. Now, I don't know what they have left because they've essentially depleted their roster. But
I mean, obviously, well, they also had a whole ton of injuries this season where they couldn't get their any of their receivers up on board. But you know what? He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be Mr. RELAX because you know what he is, Nick? Do you know what Russell Wilson is? This is a sound I actually have to play for my phone because my phone has it, but not my board or anything.
Unlimited diarrhea.
I used that in a TikTok, which went off on our TikTok account.
He is Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited diarrhea.
Yeah. Ew. Well, with all that Subway bullshit he's been doing. Him, Steph Curry. Well,
Peter.
Well, he is flushing his career down the toilet. So he's flushing his quarterback tenure with Denver down the toilet. Yeah, this. I don't know how I feel about this. There's so many better teams he could have gone to. Now, I want to connect this to part 2 of this story.
Okay.
Because per Ian Rappaport, the Texans came to an agreement on 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans. And they've agreed to terms, and now I updated those terms. We could just flip the banner here. And when I found out it was a 6-year deal. 6-year deal! for a Texans coach.
Yep.
That'll turn into severance pay after a year, as Hank would say.
Severance pay. Severance pay.
I mean, go ask Matt Rule in Carolina about his severance pay for what, 4 or 5 years at Carolina?
And now he gets to be paid for both Carolina and college.
Did you see he just filed an arbitration case against Carolina?
oh wait,
I'm not.
yeah.
What? I mean, it's funny. Like, these coaches last 1 year. You know what? They probably do this on purpose. They sign a large deal and go ask Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona also, who's got severance pay coming to him. But I think these coaches do it on purpose. Like, they try for 1 or 2 years, and then when they have 3 or 4 years left, they just suck. So when they get fired, they just get paid for those years they don't coach. Man.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. Isn't it amazing, Susan? As Hank would say also.
That's baseball season.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back in baseball season soon. Oy. Let's not rush that here anytime soon.
And we'll be back after this.
Oh, God. We don't even have time.
I still got to watch that.
Well, yeah. If you didn't see Mike and the Mad Dog on with Stephen A. on First Take. Oy. But just to finish that off, DeMeco Ryans did sign with the Texans as the head coach. The wild part of that whole story is that Denver tried to swoop in at the last moment to try to stop the signing.
Why?
Because they wanted him so bad. And apparently Sean Payton was a plan B. Think about that.
Sean Payton was a plan B?
That was the reports. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to a team that the Sean Payton is a plan B. Sean Payton, only one of the best coaches that's available right now, or was available at this place. Sean Payton, who won a Super Bowl in 2010. Not Sean Payton. Our 2009 season, 2010 Super Bowl. My point. One of the more controversial, the Saints that they're controversy about to get. That's Sean Payton. So he's number 2 under DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's ride.
I'm not surprised by that whole thing, to be honest. I mean, it's the Broncos. They don't know how to run an organization.
Damn you, Elway.
Well, speaking of things that are master of the obvious, you want to talk about Lamar Jackson?
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of quarterbacks.
So you and I have talked about this a ton over the last 5 to 7 months.
Ever since Deshaun Watson put pen to paper that $230 million guaranteed deal.
330. So again, more NFL insiders. Ian Rappaport on the Pat McAfee show. By the way, I have to give Pat a lot of credit. He gets a lot of insider sources and information fed to his show.
I was very happy to see Pat McAfee at the Royal Rumble on Saturday.
I think that was more of a one-off than anything because he's been everywhere else lately.
Well, the college football season was going on. I think he's back now that college football is.
I mean, talk about someone who's got the ultimate media career after being a football player is.
Yeah,
college game day, his own show. He's doing a bunch of other stuff too. But so Ian Rappaport, this is a direct quote from the McAfee show from Rappaport. My sense is that Lamar Jackson will get the exclusive franchise tag from the Baltimore Ravens. Well, gee, I think 2 hosts on this show said that they knew this was coming.
I wonder.
We kind of called that one a long time ago. I mean,
I wonder. Wait, Lamar and his relationship with his team deteriorating? Oh, shocker! I mean, all respect to even if you don't think Hollywood Brown was a true wide receiver 1, when you trade this quarterback of yours, this franchise quarterback, and you traded away his wide receiver 1 last draft, and he had to go into the season without one, and they end up, in second place in the division and losing wild card. And he's pissed off, and there's a quarterback that doesn't deserve to be making $100-something more million than he is guaranteed. Oh, I'm so shocked that Lamar is pissed off and wants to leave.
In technicality, Deshaun's making $300 million plus because right now Lamar has no contract.
Because okay, fair, and basically Deshaun is playing with FU money because the Browns just told FU to the people in the NFL and FU to all the quarterbacks whose markets are now going. I mean, FU to all the owners because the quarterback markets are now going to be absolutely flabbergasted.
I mean, there's probably two owners that have destroyed everything. One is the Packers are technically a publicly owned franchise, but their ownership
people have. So I should invest then in the Packers so I can say I have screwed up the NFL.
Well, technically, let me stop you before you make a mistake. Just because you buy a share, it doesn't mean you get to make it. You don't have any power in making a decision.
Fair enough, but wouldn't it be cool to say Empty the Bench is an owner of the Green Bay Packers?
I don't know what the point of them, what that does. Because, all right, I own a share, but you have no power. You get nothing. It's more of a novelty.
And then the other owner, obviously, is Jimmy Haslam.
Well, yeah, Jimmy Haslam is probably the worst owner in the NFL right now, hands down.
Second worst.
You're right. I'm sorry. Daniel Snyder is the worst owner in the NFL.
There you go.
But they're both jockeying for position at this point.
I want it. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine.
That's not a good thing to be jockeying for. But you and I talked about this for a long time, and we knew this was coming. Well, guess what? You and I agreed on the next step of this. Ready for a holdout?
Yeah.
Because guess what? Baltimore ownership, you did this. Oh, actually, I should say the Cleveland Browns ownership did this. But the Ravens are now going to be in a he said, she said situation. Well, I deserve to make money. Well, no, Lamar, you've been hurt the last 2 seasons. Which they're not wrong, by the way.
It's not wrong, but Lamar also has a point where a quarterback who hasn't been in the league in 2 years and had 26 accusations of sexual misconduct.
More. Like
more.
I think it was close to 40 last time I checked.
And he's gonna be making 300-something million, and I would be very pissed off. Especially when also you're still developing a team around him because the biggest piece of that offense was gone.
I mean, I don't know anymore. And by the way, I told you what the agent did with Deshaun's contract. He made $1 million.
I know.
All because the agent outsmarted the Browns ownership, Roger Goodell, the rest of the NFL.
But you know what? I don't think the Ravens are going to be bothered by it.
They're not.
They've got Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley.
Well, Tyler Snoop Huntley to you.
Snoop.
Oh, God. Tyler Huntley, you're a nobody.
The D-O-double-G of NFL.
More like P-double-O-P. He's not a good quarterback. Can we stop this?
People order our patties.
What?
People order our patties. I said people order our patties.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. Poop? What's that?
Should I just bring up that graphic now that I brought up Tyler Huntley?
What? Which graphic are you talking about? Oh, yeah, that.
The hell he got into the Pro Bowl over Justin Herbert and Derek Carr.
By the way, did you
2 touchdowns all season, Huntley?
what about Brissett?
Yeah, Brissett didn't make it either.
And Brissett had like 12, 13 touchdowns this year.
Yep.
I was going to save this for later, but
Oh my God!
I mean, that's my whole thoughts on this. Like, really? Like, you literally put... Well, Herbert is hurt. So that's why he was not going to the Pro Bowl. I still think it's funny. I think Derek Carr ended up getting in, though. Didn't he eventually?
Let me double check.
I saw him put a tweet out himself because he said,
Uh,
I got in representing the Raiders."
Alternate to the Pro Bowl after Joe Burrow. Okay, Joe Burrow didn't make. Joe Burrow elected not to play for injury. Okay, but still, Tyler Huntley over Justin Herbert. Then
Not good. Not good. I mean, Brissett should have made it. He deserved every opportunity. That probably would have been an incentive for Brissett, if I'm not mistaken, too. Because I guarantee you, they build incentives into those deals. I mean, he probably would have made a few extra 100,000 at least, an extra half a million.
Congratulations, NFL.
You played yourself. I mean, you want to go one step
Look
further.
at all the failure.
Yep. All right, Nick. As we slowly creep into hour 2 of this broadcast.
Wow.
Yes, hour 2. Well, we might as well now get to the conference championship games last weekend, and oh my god, did they absolutely suck.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all got sucker punched. I mean, it was so bad. I just don't even know. That's what it felt like. I mean, Eagles Niners was terrible. It was embarrassment.
Yeah, so we have our 2 Super Bowl teams. The first is, unfortunately for me, the Philadelphia Eagles, who took the 49ers to the woodshed. Well, it was 7-7 heading into towards the end of the second quarter, although the Eagles just looked like they had all the momentum. It was like about a minute or so left, or a little less than 2 minutes left in the quarter. 1 minute later, it went from 7-7 to 21-7.
It would be nice if Shanahan woke up and threw a challenge flag once in his life. I mean, how do you miss that, though? It's a momentum changer.
I understand, but here's the thing, Nick, and Hank from Game On kind of pointed it out in his recap on the ETV blog, if you want to go check that out.
Yes.
I agree with Hank in that the 49ers didn't look like they had an ounce of momentum in this game. It looked like from the very beginning that Philadelphia was going to trounce them.
I get it. I know. I mean, the problem is it doesn't help when your quarterback goes down early on in the first quarter with a UCL tear. I mean,
yeah, well, let's talk about that side of things too. Brock Purdy getting a UCL tear, so they have to actually play an NFC Championship game with their 4th string quarterback.
Josh Johnson, who's been on 13 different teams. Now, he's got experience, but he's missing the all-important playoff experience.
Yeah, he's a experienced quarterback, but there's a difference between experienced quarterback and championship-level quarterback.
And then to add insult to injury, he got hurt.
So they had to run wildcat offenses with Christian McCaffrey until Brock Purdy was able to play in.
First of all, Brock Purdy should have never saw the field again, to be honest. But I'm just surprised, like, how the Niners just like folded away like a bad fold-in chair. I mean, like it was so bad the way they were playing, and the horrible penalties they were committing on defense.
Yeah, it was.
Look at all the failure.
Yeah,
it was a whole bunch of fail. Actually, no. You know what? This one seems. That was an absolute letdown.
And there were quite a few times when they stopped the Eagles and then they committed an awful penalty on 3rd and long. And then they were getting automatic first downs on 3rd and long. I mean, like, that's no way to win. And they're supposed to be good on defense. That confused me too.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a 49ers team. They had not lost since, for what, 10, 11 weeks?
Yeah. Yep.
It had been 10 or 11 weeks. It was like some point in October when they last lost. And then they got Christian McCaffrey. And they just were completely unbeatable. Purdy looked strong. Great seasons for Debo and Ayuk. Which, by the way, Brandon Ayuk, saw that on social media, liking that post with you in a Giants jersey. Don't tease me like that, man. Don't tease me like that.
I mean, when I look at this quarterback situation, we teased this a little bit before when we were talking about Brady, but I don't know. I could see a few names fitting into that quarterback position.
Well,
And
let's talk about the news that developed over the last day or so. So Brock Purdy has the UCL sprain, and it turns out it's a lot more damage to his arm. According to a doctor that was on the Dan Patrick show yesterday, there is a very real chance, according to this sports medical doctor, that Brock Purdy could need Tommy John surgery and basically be out for all of the 2023 season.
if he needs Tommy John, he's not playing next year. I'll tell you that now.
And I don't think Johnson's under contract next season.
He's not.
And then Shanahan, in another move of great genius, announced that Jimmy Garoppolo is most likely not going to be on the team next season.
Now, I understand why he said it, because technically Jimmy G has been demanding a trade ever since Trey Lance has come in the fall.
Correct, but when Trey Lance gets injured and has constant setbacks and is not living up to his potential after 2 years, maybe there's some questions about that.
Why wouldn't you want this team? Now that McCaffrey's on this team, you have Debo, you have Ayuk. You've got a heck of a team. Why wouldn't you want to be the quarterback on this team? I don't understand.
Well, okay. Yes, if that is true, what the 49ers are saying is true, and that Jimmy G is still demanding a trade, yeah, then I got to question that with Garoppolo. But on the flip, if it's the 49ers still wanting to stick with Trey Lance, I mean, you don't want somebody like a Jimmy G there. If, like, I understand you traded up for Lance and you're invested in Lance, but isn't there about time? I mean, look at the Jets and Zach Wilson, where we have all this talk about needing to bring in a veteran quarterback because everyone's kind of, as much as the Jets brass is saying, no, we haven't lost hope. Yeah, well, the fans have lost hope. The locker room seems to have lost hope.
If the Jets haven't lost hope by now, then they're a useless franchise on the run. But
J-E-S-T, just.
well, we can forget about them. They're not in the playoffs or anywhere near the playoffs because they won't sniff the playoffs. Anyway, the whole Niners situation is nuts. I'm going to throw this name out again, but
RELAX.
Aaron Rodgers in the Bay. Ooh.
I mean, isn't he from the Bay anyway?
Well, he did express wanting to go out west. I think the 49ers were one of the teams.
Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers with McCaffrey?
Samuel and Brandon Ayuk? Oh, my God.
That would almost be unfair. Like, if you could get Aaron Rodgers head on straight, which I know is a very tough task, and I know that's asking a lot, but imagine having actual targets to throw the football to, having a probably the top running back in the league right now in McCaffrey, ever since he got traded and has been rejuvenated. He has a legitimate Super Bowl chance if he played with the Niners.
For real.
Brady would also.
You just got to be aware about Shanahan, though. He seems to always be a choker when it comes to the playoffs.
Now, there is a difference, though, between, let's say, Brock Purdy and Aaron Rodgers. Just because Shanahan is the coach, Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, if you tell me what to do.
Yeah. Well,
that's a difference.
Oh, my God. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually kind of priceless. Because the 49ers have been a team that Rodgers has struggled against.
He almost got drafted by them, didn't he?
What happened?
He almost got drafted by the Niners.
Yes. So actually, I think it was the 49ers who had the number 1 pick in 2005 and then went with Alex Smith, and Aaron Rodgers fell to 22 to Green Bay.
Oops.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they're regretting that now.
And I think Aaron Rodgers and San Fran might be at this point, maybe we do need each other.
I mean, I don't know. And what was that report that you showed me the tweet about the other day that basically the Packers were ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers? You had put that in our group chat. Do you remember?
Yes. Well, I was going to save that for after our championship.
Oh, okay. But it kind of makes sense now that we're talking about it.
You want to throw it there? Okay, let's throw it there. So there is actually a report out there from the one and only Adam Schefter. Yes, he's back again. Adam Schefter is just a running gag on this on this show, I guess. There's a real possibility, according to Adam Schefter, that the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers. Here is the. Oh, damn it. Come on, ESPN.
I thought the actual report you said is that they were just ready to move on from him.
Yes, that was the words that was.
Well, which would have to be a trade because of all the money. But who's going to take on close to $60 million?
I'm trying to pull up the text story. They're just giving me Adam Schefter's appearance on.
Well, that's no good. But
that's not. You can talk while I figure this out.
What I was going to say was that who's going to take on close to $60 million from the Packers and Aaron Rodgers? They're going to have to eat some of that money if he's going to end up in a Niners uniform, or I hate to say this because I hope it doesn't happen, a Jets uniform.
I think, unfortunately for you, that's a real possibility.
Oh God, please don't.
Okay, here's the full story. An offseason trade of Aaron Rodgers remains an option for the Green Bay Packers for a variety of reasons, league sources tell ESPN. A scenario that once seemed unthinkable. I mean, compared to the last 2 off seasons or 3 off seasons, Chef, really? A Rodgers trade could be driven by financial reasons, the state of the Packers franchise, and ultimately the feelings of the team and the star quarterback. League sources believe the franchise prefers to move on from Rodgers just as it once did with Brett Favre. Those sources also believe Rodgers is well aware of the Packers' feelings on the situation. Rodgers said during an interview last week with the Pat McAfee show that he is, quote, open to all honest and direct conversations with the Packers, and that a trade, quote, wouldn't offend me and it wouldn't make me feel like a victim.
I saw Aaron Rodgers on a video actually say that. I think he might have said that on McAfee, actually, that he doesn't care if he gets traded, it doesn't bother him. Now, that doesn't surprise me. What that also tells me, though, is that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Well, here's an interesting one. Now that I read a little deeper into the story, because we talk about finance driven by financial reasons. A little later in the story, Aaron Jones also is slated to have a cap number of $20 million, and the Packers could save $10.4 million against the cap if they cut or trade the running back star.
Yeah, it's all depending on dates with his contract.
Post June 1st cut.
Right. So it all depends. They're better off waiting out the dates, pretty much.
I know. I just think it's kind of sad. I understand people's feelings on Aaron Rodgers and such, but I mean, I know the Packers season didn't start great, but Rodgers ultimately leading them at a big stretch down the season to a 9-8 record, just narrowly missing out on the playoffs. Aaron Jones, second half of the season, balling out. And now you're going to be moving on for these 2 guys. You know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for Christian Watson, because here he is developing into a wide receiver 1. And the belief was by the season's end, he, like Rodgers, would stay and he would be basically the next coming. And now he's going to have Jordan Love thrown to him next.
You know what? I feel bad for Jordan Love also, because he's been put through all the nonsense with the Aaron Rodgers situation.
And now think if you're Jordan Love, all the nonsense you have to be put up with after being drafted inexplicably by the Packers in 2020.
Almost as a ploy to piss off Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And now you have to follow. Listen to this. Aaron Rodgers was the successor to Brett Favre. And some might say, there will be debate between those two of who was better. And now you have to follow both of their shoes? That's bad. A tough task.
Yeah, that's... I don't envy Jordan Love in this situation. But the teams that I really think of off the top of my head, if we're going to talk trade, Niners, I don't want to say it, but the Jets are going to be there.
Yep.
The Raiders. I don't know. I can't really think of much else, to be honest.
Well,
the Dolphins.
I was going to say, now that TB12 is gone, I think that reopens your theory that you had last season.
To Tampa.
Tampa.
That would be interesting, too. But I think my opinion, I think what was the team I said first? The 49ers would be the best fit.
He did say when the drama of 2 off seasons ago, during the 2021 draft, remember when Schefter broke that the day of the draft? The report was he did want to go west. And last off season, the Broncos did hire Nathaniel Hackett because they thought they were going to get Aaron Rodgers. And then Rodgers chose to stay in Green Bay.
So the Jets are pulling the same dumb shit that the Broncos are pulling.
We'll get to that. But here's my thing now, Nick. So we just talked about the Jordan Love 21 debacle last season. So this is the 4th straight offseason where we're concerned about Aaron Rodgers. So my only thing is, who's to say he's actually going to go anywhere? Who's not to say by next season Aaron Rodgers is still in a Green Bay uniform?
You know what I think it is? I think Aaron Rodgers is one of those athletes who just loves being in the mix, if you know what I mean. Like
spotlight.
Yes, likes being a part of drama. Like,
and you know what he's going to tell you about that drama, Nick?
RELAX.
I wish you two did it simultaneously. That would have been great.
That would have been funny, actually. But I think Aaron Rodgers is a shit stirrer. Basically, he wants all the spotlight. You know how certain athletes, they just don't like the spotlight. They do their job. They don't mind talking to the media after the game.
Yeah.
Like Derek Jeter comes to mind on that one. Like he doesn't love the spotlight, but he talks to the media because he knows it's an obligation and he does it.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, almost like hunts down the media and will talk to them purposely, giving them dumb shit answers and looking for the spotlight.
Well, you could say he's been immunized from the media.
Oh, that joke is getting so ridiculous.
Sorry, but
no, not your fault. But
actually, you know what's funny? I've been tagging, doing the tag for Aaron Rodgers' Twitter whenever he comes up in our, things, our posts and such.
Yeah.
I think if you go to Aaron Rodgers, his Twitter, his profile picture is still of him holding his foot to the camera.
Oh God, why? Just go get an OnlyFans already.
It's a legacy verified account, so this is actually his.
Go get an OnlyFans already. You know what? I could see it now. Aaron Rodgers OnlyFans account, and the account name will be Cheesehead for Life.
No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be Feet for Cheeseheads.
Oh God!
I don't know how I managed to get myself into these messes.
Oh man!
Oh God! And we've still got half the show to go through.
All right, let's move on.
What are we at right now? 113.
113 and counting.
We're only about halfway through this.
Like I said, the marathon show.
All right, it's time to disrespect the Bengals. The Kansas City Chiefs, for the 3rd time in 5 seasons, are going to the Super Bowl as the Chiefs knock off the Bengals 23-20 in perhaps, let's set it this way. It wasn't a great game, but it was better than the blowout we got in the NFC title.
It's 23-20. I would say that's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was the most exciting of games.
I mean, the Niners committed the dumbest penalty of all time after Burrow threw the pick on his own side of the field.
Oh, you mean the Bengals?
The Bengals threw a pick. That's why I said Burrow threw a pick, and then they turned it over. And after they were pretty much a field goal range, Mahomes runs the ball for the first down,
and
he gets tackled late, hit out of bounds.
Oh, what's his name from the Bengals? Asai, Joe Asai.
I mean, the dumbest penalty that ended the game right there. It was it. I mean,
we were in our meeting watching the game. We said, that's it. That's the end of the game.
I mean, they were already in range once Mahomes ran that ball for a first, but
Well, but that went from like 60 yards to what, 40 or 45?
yeah, pretty much. And I was just like, oh god, the Bengals did it again. They fucked up. I mean, and now I think Burrow is up for contract extension talks, right?
No, he was drafted in 20. He was drafted in the COVID draft.
Well, I saw Zach Taylor at the Pro Bowl stuff, and they said they were already having contract extension talks.
Well, possibly because now that's 3 seasons. So now I think it's time to decide on his 5th-year option. I guess they're just gonna try and get an extension to
If
buy
I were
out
the,
a couple of years of free agency. I would
if
assume.
I were the Bengals right now, I
Yeah.
would not. I would not wait.
I would buy out that 4th year, that 5th year, and a couple more years of free agency.
I mean, this is where it gets interesting for a second because we were talking about Lamar. Because if Burrow is definitely going to get the contract. Herbert is definitely going to get a contract once he's healthy. He's not going anywhere.
Well,
So
my thing is, if Herbert doesn't get a contract this offseason, then when his 5 years are up after next season,
he's definitely going to get one.
well, all right. No, because my thing is, if he doesn't, could we see what we see with Lamar this offseason? Could we see that with Herbert next offseason?
I mean, the one thing that they have similar going is that they're both injury prone. Herbert's had some pretty serious injuries, but
when
the
they're
one-
healthy, they're some of the best in the league.
but I was going to say the one caveat that I would give towards Herbert is that Staley does not know how to handle his injured players at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, and I made that statement, I don't know how many episodes ago it was, but I said, if I were Herbert, I would watch the situation, how it goes. Because, one, he needs to protect himself and make sure he gets the contract that he wants. And maybe it's not in with the Chargers.
No, maybe not.
But,
Why would you want to give Spanos that pleasure?
well, or also a coach that doesn't know how to protect his players when they're not healthy.
Yeah.
But to go back to this, Mahomes was definitely hurt. The high ankle sprain, he was doing pretty good. Then he pulled up lame towards the end of the game. And somehow he managed to get through it. But that's Mahomes. Like, we shit on Mahomes, but he figures out how to get through the big moments.
He has the magic. He's called Magic Mahomes for a reason. Some of what he does is just, it seems unfair, but that's just the level of talent.
The sick part is if he wins another Super Bowl, like, you pretty much have to book him for the Hall of Fame if he wins this year.
Basically, I forget who I saw. Some analyst, it might have been one of the former players, said he could win the Super Bowl this year, walk off the field and never play again, and he'll probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, that would be 2 Super Bowls in what, 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's more than enough. It's hard to win multiple Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Just to win one is hard. I mean, but this whole nonsense that he's going to win 7 rings, we got to put a kibosh on that.
Why?
Because it's too soon.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6.
Oh, no. He'll come up later. Don't you worry. But like I said, this was a much better game than the debacle in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, with the Bengals, you had the whole weird situation going on with Eli Apple during the game also, which I thought was really funny.
Shitting on Eli Apple. I was doing that before I was cool. The
Giants.
Giants fans and Saint fans were doing that before it was popular.
The Bengals are going to be a great team for many years to come. I'm not worried about
I
that.
So I pray to God what we saw last season isn't going to be 10 or 15 years from now the start of the secret base collapse video.
The one thing that's a little scary, though, the rushing attack. Mixon 8 carries for 19 yards. No go. No bueno.
You can't win a conference championship with those numbers.
So, and the receivers, actually, there's only one receiver total between both teams that had 100+ yards, and it's the guy with the 3 names.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yes. Which, by the way, probably the biggest value pickup of the offseason that they had.
Yeah. Tyreek who?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, he's sitting at home.
And I mean, Kelsey. Oh, honestly, Kelsey's the wide receiver one. He's the wide receiver one and the tight end one.
Which is insane, and I think he's probably still underpaid, Kelsey, for whatever he's making right now.
Hey, we're gonna have the Kelsey Bowl.
Kelsey Bowl, the Andy Reid Bowl, the number 1 seed bowl. I don't know. Am I leaving anything out? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But I don't know. This was a much better game. Butker, obviously, who's been really good for them over the years, makes the game-winning kick.
Yep.
And then you have Kelsey, which I'm actually glad I brought that up in my mind. Kelsey basically calling the Cincinnati Mayor a jabroni during the post-game press conference.
I love it. Had the spirit of the Rock in him to tell him to know his role and shut his mouth.
I love Kelsey. Kelsey is a great leader, and he can back his own game up at the same time. So it's going to be a good Super Bowl, but let's not jump too far ahead. We're going to have to come up with a show next week, and that's going to be most of the show. So I don't know. Where are we going next from here?
All right, we're through with the conference title games. We're not going to talk any Super Bowl stuff other than the matchup. I'm just saying what that matchup is because that's all for next week.
Yeah, we got to fill. We got to fill a show next week.
We got to fill a show next week, and we got to fill a live stream to be determined. Or to be announced.
Well, we know it's going to be Sunday.
It's gonna be yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday. It'll be sometime early afternoon.
That's why I said to be announced because we're doing one. We just don't know the full final details yet.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll do some kind of promo video or something. You'll find out.
Do this episode first.
Yeah, well, the marathon is about halfway done.
Yeah, so let me start this next segment off, Nick, by asking you a question.
Oh no!
All right. How about them Cowboys?
Great. Jesus. God.
How about them Cowboys?
Well, think about it. The Cowboys are full of hot air.
Well, as it turns out, Nick, they have a coaching move. They have decided to part ways with their offensive coordinator, Mark Kellen Moore, and guess who's now going to be the play caller?
Let's see. I know, but you should tell everybody else.
The head coach himself, Mike McCarthy, will be calling the plays now down in Dallas.
All right, I haven't had it. I haven't had a chance to do this in a while. Yeah, this just gets funnier and funnier with the Cowboys. And by the way, Kellen Moore already got hired.
By who?
The Chargers. Yeah, according to either Schefter or Rappaport, he basically was only a free agent, so to speak, for like 5 minutes. Sounds about right.
It is amazing how Kellen Moore can get a job, and the Cowboys just say, you know what, we're gonna go with our guy Mike McCarthy. You know, I imagine it right now, Nick. I imagine it right now. Our boy Jerry, just saying, well, you know what, Kellen Moore wasn't good anyway. You know, we need somebody who can really bring out the best in Dak. It's not Dak's fault. Kellen Moore was just really bad. We need somebody who can really help utilize the running attack of Zeke and Pollard and really give Dak the ability to throw to his receivers without any sort of distractions. So you know what, Mike McCarthy is gonna be field coach and play call. And you know, I know Aaron Rodgers has had his problems, but I know
my
Aaron Rodgers has had his problems with Mike McCarthy.
RELA.
By the way,
you shut up there, Aaron.
yeah, really. I just
shut up there, Aaron, because you are not better than Dak. How about them Cowboys?
oh my god. I just found a video circulating on Twitter as well
Oh no! What? No.
that Stephen Jones confirmed that Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore didn't jive philosophically. I mean,
Oh.
I can pull this one out again, but
Oh my God!
I mean, like, are we supposed to be surprised by that? Like, Mike McCarthy doesn't get along with anybody except his stomach.
Oh God!
I mean, I'm sorry, his stomach is closer to him than his coaching staff.
Oh Jesus! Oh, hold on! We haven't used this one in a while.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Sorry, but Mike McCarthy's not a good head coach. He's not. If it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, he wouldn't have won anything.
I hear a voice in Green Bay right now saying, "Told you so."
Duh. Aaron Rodgers wore the pants in that relationship. The problem is every time Aaron Rodgers is in a relationship, it doesn't last.
RELAX.
You shut the fuck up. No one asked for your opinion. You ever heard of if I asked for your opinion, I would ask for it? I'm not asking for it.
He's not dating that witch anymore now, is he?
No, now he's dating the Milwaukee Bucks owner's daughter.
Oh. So money married into money.
Don't get mad at me, but what the buck? Yes. You're welcome. But
Okay, I'm done.
oh my god. Trying not to die over here.
Well, no. I'm gonna make you die now.
Oh no, don't do it.
I'm going to do it.
Oh. Why?
Why? Because I want to have some fun right now. I want to have some fun. And I want
Oh,
to change
no.
the color here.
Oh
I wanna
no.
change the color. Our show is gonna be green right now. I know it doesn't fit with our aesthetic, but I need it for a second. And you know what else I need? I need this song. Get it? Wait a minute. We're done with Broncos country. Let's try. Yes. However, I have now developed something new. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now introduce you to Jets Country Take Flight. Because allow me to introduce to you Nick Morgasen, the offensive coordinator, the new OC of the NYJ, the New York Jets, Nathaniel Hackett.
God, I don't even know.
How you feeling?
Well, I'm not a Jet fan right now, so I don't care. But why? Like, I just said this before. I'll say it again. The Broncos brought in Nathaniel Hackett because they thought they were going to end up with Aaron Rodgers as a starting quarterback. Blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? That didn't work. So the Jets, who are always a day late and $1 short on everything, decide, you know what? We're going to copy the Broncos because that's a good idea. And bring him in as the offensive coordinator. And then we hear the rumors come out. Well, maybe Aaron Rodgers will come and be the quarterback for the Jets. And I'm like, don't do that. You want to deal with that drama and you want to pay him close to $60 million a year? I certainly don't. That just sounds like a headache waiting to happen.
I want to know something now, Nick. What happens if the Jets go through with this and they have hired Nathaniel Hackett, and then they don't land Aaron Rodgers, just like Denver did?
It wouldn't be a surprise to me if that's what you're asking me. I mean,
Well,
would-
no, what would they do?
you mean like who's the backup option if they don't get Aaron Rodgers? Derek Carr.
Okay, who's plan C? Zach Wilson.
A ghost.
So Zach Wilson.
No, not Zach Wilson. Mike White. I don't know.
Oh, Mike White. Mike White and his ribs that will never heal, thanks to Zach Wilson.
I would
There's
take
scarring in those ribs.
I would take a rooster before Zach Wilson at this point.
Would you take Stephen A. Smith over Zach Wilson?
Yes, that's not even a doubt. I would take Stephen A. Smith.
Off the weed. Duh.
Yeah, I would take Stephen A. 10 times out of 10 over
Would
Zach
you take
Wilson.
Mike Francesa as your quarterback over Zach Wilson?
Oh, well, I am the sports pope. Oh, God. Back after this. The sick part is I know the producer of when he fell asleep on air. He was an alumni at LIU where I went, so I actually know who he is. But yeah, this is a bad situation. It's going to end poorly. Can we stop with the Aaron Rodgers rumors, please? I beg of you, please.
Nick,
If you want, wait.
What?
If you want any chance of me lasting as a Jet fan, you will not bring Aaron Rodgers in here.
Nick, do me a favor and close your eyes and just try to take a deep breath.
Okay.
RELAX.
Shut the fuck up! You pile of shit! You useless swine! Take your feet picks and shove them up your ass. You're useless. As long I look at it this way, you don't bother my life, I don't bother yours.
I've basically fallen out of the chair.
I don't know what's worse, me being angry at LeBron or Aaron Rodgers in a Jet uniform.
Yes.
Why do I feel like now that's going to get clipped? That's going to get clipped, isn't it?
I'm trying.
That's definitely going to get clipped. I know it. I'm gonna have all the angry people on TikTok and Twitter. You Aaron Rodgers hater. You know what? You're a Jet fan. You're just jealous because you don't have a great quarterback like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God, Nick, you nearly killed me on that one. Jesus.
I don't think I've had a rant like that in a long time either.
Oh.
I'm telling you though, Aaron Rodgers is useless. Useless. You know what? I would put Aaron Rodgers up in the useless category with Zach Wilson.
Would you put him ahead or behind Wilson?
If you mean like Aaron Rodgers putting
who's more useless?
If you mean like Aaron Rodgers putting a boot in Zach Wilson's behind, then yes. But they're both useless. Aaron Rodgers is useless, but at least he's won a Super Bowl. So I guess he has the right to have some clout. Zach Wilson has nothing and will have nothing and will be on the street begging for money one day when he gets cut.
Spare change, ma'am.
Spare change, ma'am. Spare change.
You do Squidward so much better than me.
Oh man, dude. I could do Patrick Star. I could do Squidward. I could do it all.
I'll have
God. I this is not the time. We still have a bunch to do.
We're gone. We're gone. We still have one.
Should we go back to the red?
6 more to go.
Should we go back to the red and spare people the embarrassment of the jet screen?
But green's my favorite color.
I don't have a problem with green. Well, Aaron Rodgers could be saying the same thing.
green's my favorite color, but I hate the Jets. Yes.
Well, no, I was going to say green is not a bad color. I can tell you what, Aaron Rodgers probably likes a lot of green also.
A lot of green? Oh, I know what green you're talking about.
Well, he's projected to make close to $60 million this next coming season.
So then he has nothing to worry about.
It isn't easy being green.
For him, there is.
That was a Kermit the Frog reference, by the way.
I understand. I know Kermit the Frog, my friend.
Okay. As I'm choking. But anyway, all right, let's go.
Okay, one more coaching news. Frank Reich is now the head coach over in Carolina. Going? I don't know.
There's a problem with this from certain aspects of this. Steve Wilkes, who was the interim head coach of the Panthers, black head coach, I think was the only black head coach at the moment.
Almost had the team win the division if it wasn't for a late collapse.
He turned the team around from essentially winning no games to winning what, 7 games or something like that.
Yep.
And almost winning a division, which probably should have never been in their rear view. He should have been the head coach. You got to give him a chance to head coach. And it's another, I hate to use this phrase, but it makes sense. It's a black eye on the NFL again. How do you... So they didn't even try. The NFL didn't even make an attempt to say, hey, black head coach, we don't have any. We need diversity here. Hello? Did the Rooney Rule even come into effect?
Probably not.
Well, I think this is more on the Panthers than it is the NFL because they hired Reich quick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wasn't it true he was with the organization as a quarterback?
Yeah, he was.
I think he was the first quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I guess their excuse is going to be he was with the franchise, but it just looks bad. It's a bad look. Strike another X on the NFL and Roger Goodell for not stepping in.
Oh, hang on 1 second. I haven't used this one in a long time. If it's still here, yes.
Yeah, you're right. He should have stepped in. You got to step in there. He's been good. He won 7 games. They almost won the freaking division for crying out loud. But you hire a failed Colts head coach who couldn't do shit.
Yeah, basically.
No problem. We just give all the white coaches multiple chances. Whatever.
All
All right. What's next?
I was gonna say I was tempted to say something else, but I'm gonna hold off because I've got a bad feeling about how long this next one might take.
Oh no. What?
Time to talk about an old friend that we haven't talked about in a while. JD and the straight shots.
Mm. Mm.
I had my volume down, and that still scared me because I wasn't prepared for it.
Well, because there's about to be a shitstorm, and I'm warning for it in advance.
All right, hang on. Let me go get my umbrella. Actually, I'm not going to do that. Opening an umbrella indoors is bad luck.
That's bad luck. Yeah.
I'll just I nearly fell out of my seat last time, but you know what? I'll just
No.
Come on. You can explode now.
No, it's okay. We have to set the story up first. So,
Okay, fair point.
So you can come back up on your chair for now.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. We don't want to lose another microphone of yours. You good?
Oh, yeah, I'm all right.
Okay. So James Dolan is in the news again. Now, it's not for the shitty play for the Knicks on the basketball court. It's news he made about alcohol sales. That he's threatening to ban alcohol sales at Madison Square Garden during games, mostly Ranger games and Knick games, if facial technology gets blocked. Now, This one drove you up the wall when I explained it to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I saw of this, so he's been using the facial technology to kind of make sure that nobody that is against MSG and him, I should say, especially in the courts of law, will get into any of his buildings.
Well, wait, you got to add the caveat. It's a lawyer that's not even part of the damn case.
Well, that's the thing. So there's a case going on, and
I don't know what the exact case is, though.
neither do I, honestly. But so there's some sort of case, and there's a lawyer who works in a firm, the firm that's suing Dolan. However, this lawyer is not part of the case, and she is going to an event at not MSG, Radio City Music Hall. Has her, I think it's a daughter with her, like a young daughter,
Yes. Yep.
and
A Girl Scout, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think a Girl Scout, and they were barred from entering Radio City because the facial technology recognized her, and they basically the mother, the lawyer, and basically said, yeah, even though you're not part of the case, you still work for the company that's suing James Dolan. So
That's ridiculous.
yeah, it's a little effed up.
This whole story has so many pieces to it. Like, one, the facial recognition software, which facial recognition has been around for a couple decades. That's not new. But to use it on a lawyer that's not even part of the case, that's another whole situation. Then he goes on Fox 5 locally in New York, and he's talking to whoever. I don't remember who he's talking to, but he has if you see in the video, he's got a printed out pieces of paper.
Also, by the way, sorry, before
Yeah.
you get there. So Dolan wants to continue using it to blacklist corporate adversaries, and he basically says, where is it? He's been using surveillance technology to remove attorneys working for law firms with active litigation against MSG Entertainment. All right, in one highly publicized case, a mother chaperoning her daughter's Girl Scout troop was removed from a Christmas spectacular performance after cameras matched her face with a database of photos of lawyers working for banned firms.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so New York AG Latita James is digging in and doubling down against his grudges, and he was talking about on Fox 5 and some sort of incident with the state liquor authority, which said, if you don't back down, we're going to take away your alcohol license. So
Yeah, and guess what? James Dolan said, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do it for you, or I'm going to threaten to do it for you.
Yep.
And so he goes on Fox 5 locally in New York, and he has this printed out piece of paper with the guy's picture on it, and he writes the guy's first and last name, the phone number, and the email, and repeats it like 5 or 6 times, holding the paper up to the camera. And guess what? To go one step further, you and I have worked in the media business for a while to know what's one of the biggest sins when it comes to TV or radio media.
do not put out sensitive information,
Especially personal information.
Yes.
He literally held it up and was repeating the guy's name, phone number, and email. And Fox 5 did not blur it.
If it was just one time, then I say, okay, maybe they didn't expect it. That they didn't have any idea what was going on.
He kept going.
If he's repeating it 5 or 6 times, I mean, first of all, shame on James Dolan for even attempting this stuff in the first place, but then also shame on Fox for not covering it up.
I mean, you could clearly see the paper was next to him on the couch he was sitting on, so he knew what he was doing. This was not like, oh, I just did this last minute. He was going to do it. He had the plan the whole time. He's like, well, and the worst part during the interview, excuse me, he says, you're not bugging me. I'll just take the alcohol license out of the games. I've been sober for 29 years, moron. Who says that?
Also, you're basically going to hurt your own business just for the point of making a statement.
You're going to hurt the shareholders.
I mean, you're going to take away alcohol sales, which will get you a pretty buck. just to make this kind of statement.
That's who
I'm-
James Dolan is as a person. He
And here's
doesn't
the thing,
care.
But here's the thing, Nick. It's not going to work. Fans are going to be pissed off at him and not the attorney general or the liquor authority.
I'm glad you brought that up because the next part of this, he goes to Cardin and Roberts on FAN. Now, Johnny had a problem with this. You had a problem with this. I had a problem with this. For someone who says he doesn't do radio interviews at all,
And for someone who hates WFAN too, I think Johnny mentioned that as well.
he also he just hates radio, the radio interview process. Because when you have him in, you're not having him in for one segment.
Yeah.
You're having him in for 2-3 segments. You're not. That's a waste of time.
Right.
Having him in for one segment. And the reason he hates WFAN is because ESPN New York owns the rights to the Knicks games. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But for him to come out and Evan Roberts, one of the hosts, basically said what you just said. If you remove the alcohol, that's on you as a person, not anybody else. And he's right. If you make the decision, that's on you. Nobody else.
I mean, if the liquor authority interferes and actually does take the license away, then yeah, people will be pissed at them. But if you're doing it just to make some sort of statement, which is unnecessary, then you basically are shooting yourself in the foot. You are hurting MSG, even if it's temporary, you're hurting it financially from the money that you could make for a game. You are taking away from your own profits. You're taking away from the enjoyment of certain people. I know not everyone is going to purchase alcohol at a game, but some.
I'll tell you right now, if you remove alcohol for a certain period of time, you're going to lose half your crowd.
Which, by the way, I mean, I haven't gone to a Rangers game since 2016 because the ticket prices at MSG.
They're insane. The Knicks prices are insane.
I mean, it just got really bad. I mean, I never went to the new Yankee Stadium till like 2017. It was much cheaper one year to just go down to Baltimore. I know Yankee Stadium is not Dolan territory, but I'm just saying the ticket prices around New York City to go to these games are.
Well, I can give you the perfect experience to that. I went to Baltimore. I saw 2 games.
I did too. 2012 season, the second series of the season, I think. It was Yankees or Orioles.
I literally saw I think I saw Orioles Nationals. I got to see the interstate rivalry. 2 games. One all the way down behind the dugout and one section up but in the front right below the bottom.
Oh my god, we had similar experiences then.
But I literally paid like what I would have paid for one full experience to go to Yankee Stadium. Everything in New York, but this is not, again, we're not pointing out something that's not obvious. Anything in New York is going to be 10 to 20 times more expensive. And I'll tell you right now, where do the Liberty play? They're owned by what? That's Desai, right?
Yeah, Desai. Don't they play in Barclays now?
They play in Barclays. Oh, well, originally they were owned by Dolan.
They played in the Garden. Yeah.
Guess who feels stupid now? Because they just got Stewart.
Yeah, Breonna Stewart.
So, but when I went to the Barclays Center, those were expensive. Like I went with my brother. I went to check out Barclays Center when it was brand new. Tickets are expensive. NBA tickets in New York are expensive. And now that you have a really hot competitor in Brooklyn, now the prices are going to be going like this, up and down. But Dolan's a jerk. Dolan, like, people have tried to run him out. And then every time he does an interview, he basically comes out and says, I'm never selling the team. Good. So you're going to piss off the Knicks fans and the Ranger fans even more.
And remember, if you sort of sell the team chant, he'll just kick you and ban you from the Garden.
I have a problem with that. Okay, so because during that interview with Cardin and Roberts, he's like, "Oh well, if you want to say the team sucks, I wouldn't remove you from the stadium or the arena. But if you say like Jim Dolan sucks or blah blah, I'd remove you from the stadium." Excuse me.
So soft, so sensitive.
And do you remember the whole incident where the group walked in with the Jim Dolan sucks T-shirts?
Yep. He
claims during the interview that he said, if you cover the shirts up, we won't remove you from the stadium. That's what he claims. I don't know if I believe that. And by the way, I'm sure James Dolan's going to see this rant, and I'm going to be next in the facial recognition software. But
I'll probably be there with you.
that'll be a great story to tell on an episode of the podcast if that happens. But are you kidding me? Cover up the shirts? Maybe if you actually took the team seriously and spent money and cared, people wouldn't say you suck. Just like your band. It sucks. Straight shooter. Straight shooting what? You're not a straight shooter.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, let's see.
You suck.
All right, am I banned yet?
Hit the one below it, too.
Look at all the failure.
Are we
There you
banned
go.
yet?
Probably.
Stay off the weed! Duh.
Are we banned yet?
That might get that might get us banned.
my God!
You know what we should do? We should try to get this clip to James Dolan and the Knicks PR and see what happens.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. Yeah. Well, that's not the only NBA thing that we've got to talk about.
Oh.
Now I really am gonna take cover. So last week we had a game involving the Lakers, which they lost, and you saw LeBron James pulling off a major tantrum on the court on a foul that was missed against him. And in the last 2-minute report, the stupid thing that the NBA always puts out, they admit, yeah, we got this wrong. To the point where the NBA refs, the league has put out a statement saying basically we need to do better and apologizing for it.
I mean, really? Really? Because it's LeBron James, because he bitched and moaned like a 4-year-old who got his candy stolen. Like that we had to make a statement. All right, I get it. He was fouled. But sometimes fouls are missed. It happens.
And I get it. It was egregious. But for the referees to have to put out a statement, let me put it to you this way. If this happened to Giannis, would a statement be put out saying basically we're sorry?
Hell no. They wouldn't.
If this happened to Jokic, would there be any sort of statement?
No.
To Luka?
No.
To Trey?
Well, first of all, Luka bitches about every foul call, so they don't even care about what he says anymore.
Okay, to Trey Young?
No.
To Brunson?
No.
To let's see, Chris Paul?
No.
James
And
Harden?
and he was the NBPA president for a while.
Yeah. James Harden?
No. Well, he complains about everything too, so they don't care.
Joel Embiid?
No.
My point. I think you get my point. Oh, one more. KD?
That one it depends.
Kyrie?
No. No. No, he just causes problems for the NBA.
Kyrie would say that Kyrie would accuse the referees of being part of some conspiracy theory against him.
Or he would say that they're racist against his religion.
Can't we just chase him up and down the court again with the
No.
shot?
No. I had enough of that. Oh, that was like a month of just gonna get you. Oh God, can't win. But
Yep.
this whole thing with LeBron, like he's got to stop. He's not the all-star he once was. I know he's less than 100 points or like 100 points away from clearing Kareem for all-time points.
Mhm.
I get it. I understand he will be the all-time points leader. He is going to play beyond this year, so he's going to shatter that record by Kareem, even though I still think Kareem is more impressive than LeBron will ever be. LeBron complains so much. But at the same time, the problem is this used to happen to Shaq all the time. A powerful force that couldn't be stopped, but you can't call a foul every single time they would hit Shaq or every time they hit LeBron. Your game.
To be fair, they also hit Shaq a lot because they were doing hack a Shaq.
No, but I'm talking about the powerful dunks and getting through the lane. You can't call a foul every time. Your games would be 5 hours long if you had to stop and call a foul every time you hit Shaq or a foul every time you hit LeBron. He is right in some aspects that he takes more of the abuse when he goes through the lane than any other player. But he's got to stop. And Luka's doing it too. Luka complains about someone sneezing on him.
Luka's gonna find this episode and voice a complaint.
Pretty much. I don't know. Well, he's got the perfect owner since his owner complains about everything all the time. Mark Cuban gets $250,000 fines every time he yells at a referee.
And for that reason, Nick, he's out.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right. You know who else is out? Probably out of the league that he could have been a part of? Stetson Bennett. So, it was just last month he led Georgia to a national championship. And I know he's older college prospect, to say the least. But
was he 25, 26?
Yeah, but maybe a slim possibility an NFL team takes him on as a backup. Well, you know what he has done to those chances, Nick?
Crushed him.
Arrested for what we call public intoxication.
Well,
that's a long flush.
It is. I don't want to know what was going on in that toilet. Anyway, but anyway, I was going to say, depending on what was going on in the toilet, he was definitely having a good time.
Oh, I was gonna save Rick for somebody else.
Well, Stetson Bennett was having a good time. It's warranted. But here's the thing. This situation reminds me, and I brought this up to you the last couple of days, the Tunzel situation with the mask during the draft.
And I tell you, I agree with Hank and Johnny. The next sound effect we need is Snoop Dogg's. We could smoke weed every day, or you could use the backmasking version, where it was like, eat this every day, because that was the censored version.
They're both fine. They're both fine, but Stetson Bennett is having a little too much fun right now.
Well, what's sad is he's probably just cost himself a job with the NFL. Now, here's the thing. USFL is going to start up in April. XFL is about to start back up. And Nick, the Arena Football League is coming back. So maybe there's a chance one of those leagues picks him up. Or maybe he goes to Canada and plays in the CFL.
I don't know. I don't know. Or somehow he'll end up in the Alaskan Basketball League. I don't know.
Blubber Nuggets.
They're chewy.
Blubber Nuggets.
Go ask Dale Dimmadome. He'll get you involved.
Dimmadome. Well, they didn't say Dimmadome. Dimmadome give a shit.
Oh, man. But Stetson Bennett, the same thing with Tunzel. He was supposed to be a first round selection. He dropped all the way to the 4th or 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, due to that.
Yep.
I mean, this doesn't surprise me. Stetson Bennett seems like the party kid that doesn't go to classes, doesn't do homework, and because he's an athlete, no one cares. Because he just won a national championship, no one cares.
Well, of course. He's the hero.
For now, until he's out of college and has to find a job. I don't think he has I don't think he has an NIL deal.
Like I said, Arena Football League will take him on. XFL might.
I don't know. I have no idea. This is I'm happy for him that he won a title with Georgia, but he just pretty much torpedoed his potential NFL career.
But you know who hasn't torpedoed themselves? Depending on your viewpoint of this. By the way, we have hit 2 hours. We are going into a third hour, and thank God it's actually not going to be that long.
Well, we've done 2 hours plus before.
True. No, I'm just saying. Thank God it actually isn't the longest episode we've ever had.
Well, we don't know that yet, but we'll see. We did two. Johnny
you want me to be a blabbering mess for half an hour.
Johnny and I did 234, I think.
So, are you saying you want me to find recipes, cookbook recipes, and just read them out? Like I'm what is it called? The filibusters that they do in Washington, where they'll just do something completely.
They literally just read the books.
I'll read the dictionary, and we'll just go through.
You know what? We'll copy James Dolan and we'll read everybody's personal information now. No, don't do that.
All right. First name John, last name John.
No.
Phone number 5555555.
Wow.
I was wondering when that was going to get used today. Have we used all the sound effects today?
No, not all of them.
What
not
have we
all
not
of them.
used?
Well, let's. You want to get the show done? Let's keep moving.
Hold on. I just want to see what hasn't been used yet. Okay, there's 3 I see on there that we need to use.
Okay.
All right, let's do. Okay. Anyways, so maybe Jeff McNeil has ensured himself a good job and good pay for a while, or maybe he has torpedoed his career because he's staying with the New York Mets. I don't know.
Well, I think the Mets got the deal of a lifetime, to be honest.
So it's going to be a 4-year, $50 million extension. Plus, there's a player. I think it's a player option.
Player option for the 5th year.
Club option. Pardon me.
Club option. Yeah.
And that could stretch it to what, $63-ish million?
Close to 64. Yeah.
So you only have to pay about $15 million a year for Jeff McNeil. I'd say that's a pretty solid deal.
I mean, what did they spend so far this offseason? Like $800 million? I mean, like,
why is not a little more? Why not a little more for the 2000? Wasn't he the batting champion of the NL?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Batting champion, very versatile and flexible in the field. I think I did a minute on this. I said versatile and flexible in the field. I think this is a solid signing for them.
Yeah, McNeil was the batting champion, which is that just goes to show you that it's an underpay even more.
If I'm Jeff McNeil, I might be asking my agent, what the fuck?
Or why didn't you go shop me somewhere else? I mean, Jesus. Unless he...
Oh, he was arbitration. This was arbitration.
Well, no, this isn't arbitration. This is a real deal. It's 5-year...
No, originally it was arbitration.
Oh, unless they bought out years, you mean?
Yeah, so from my understanding, they were about $1 million or $1.5 million off, and they said, you know what? Let's just screw it, and let's just work on a real extension instead. So they bought out the rest of his arbitration years, and then I think it was 1 or 2 of his free agency years.
So I just looked it up
Mm-hmm.
On Spot Track. 2023 was an arbitration 2, and 2024 was an arbitration 3. So you were right. He had 2 arbitration years.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess technically they did buy out the arbitration years.
Yep.
And then 2025 is 15.75, 25, 26, and 27 is a club option. Interesting. Okay.
Like I said, it's a solid deal. I guess the only thing I could say about McNeil signing with them fairly quick for that kind of money is maybe he's happy in New York. I mean,
or he realized who the owner is eventually when he gets a new deal.
Right. So, a lot of money out there, and let's face it, the Mets have the talent. Like I constantly ask, though, it's just a matter of can the talent translate to a championship? Well, first, let's see them get, advance into the in the postseason.
My
Makes a lot.
answer is going to be $800 million. You better freaking make it deep into the playoffs this coming year. $800 million.
Yeah.
They had to come up with a name for your tax threshold, the Cohen tax.
The Cohen tax.
Steve Cohen.
Pay the tax, man.
Steve Cohen basically broke the rules and said, "Tax threshold? Fuck your tax threshold. I don't care."
Screw the rules. I have money. Literally.
I mean, I think they said 800 million was like 2 or 3% of his net worth. Is that scary?
Yeah, pretty scary. I just had a funny idea. He's man, Fred.
Wow. That's good. That is good. Ooh.
Time to pay your threshold. All right. And speaking of tax, man, there was a man who once said to Floyd Mayweather, that reminded him as Floyd Mayweather, they were doing a press conference or fight, he was throwing money around, and Conor said, "That's for the tax man," because Floyd hadn't paid his taxes yet. Yes, the Irish bug of joy is back. So, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? The fact that he's been accused of assault first, or the fact that he was hit by a car while on his bike?
The scary part is I saw the video of him getting hit by the bike. And
car while on his bike.
And the weird part is he got in the guy's car and they drove off.
Everything looks so peaceful. Like,
I'm confused. Was that like a setup?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
Because the weird part is he live streamed, like he gets off the bike, he's pissed off. Then he gets in the guy's car and he's talking to him while the video's still going.
He's got a good gash on his hip. So that tells me it might not be fake, but it's just so bizarre.
Isn't he fighting also?
We'll talk about that, but you want to know my opinion on Conor?
I could have told you that.
And I know he's about this, but he seems to be more about this.
That's so true.
So there is a rumor going around. There's a report from Severe MMA, which is based in Ireland. It's an MMA site based in Ireland, that he might be doing the next season of The Ultimate Fighter as part of a little comeback. You know, it'll lead to a comeback fight.
Well, I heard someone else is making a comeback too.
Who?
A certain let's see, who am I Masvidal.
Yes, Masvidal will be fighting in the co-main event of UFC 287 in April. All this that I'm talking about, by the way, you can find on the MMA Outsiders episode 24 that premiered this morning with myself and Sam Bendo. Cheek plug.
Continue.
Okay, the former part. So a couple of days before this little hit by the car incident, Conor received an accusation of assault. There is a woman who is accusing him basically of assaulting her while they were on Conor's yacht in Ibiza. And this took place back in July. Supposedly the case had been closed. It was originally against another man, but now, citing new evidence, the case in Ireland has been reopened and is now against Conor. So, I mean, on one hand, we've seen Conor accused of things multiple times, but on the other hand, I mean, if the case is being reopened and is now against you, that's not a good look. That's
not good. That's bad.
And, of course, guess what the UFC is doing about it, Nick?
Nothing!
Nothing! Guess what?
Wait. What?
I was like, guess what the athletic commissions are doing about it?
Nothing!
Nothing!
Wait, you should talk about the poll you put out on MMA Outsiders, because now it makes total sense.
That's why I asked if Conor is bigger than the UFC on the MMA Outsiders stories.
Yes.
I agree. Yes.
I mean,
UFC might be more. The UFC might be, worth more. The UFC might, be able to say, okay, we don't need Conor because we can just go with our other fighters. But guess what? There's only one person that's active in the UFC right now that can eclipse 1 million buys every time he fights. And you know who that is?
Besides Connor, you mean?
No, just Connor. He is the only one.
Oh,
Brock Lesnar's not in the Brock Lesnar did it, but he's not in UFC anymore. He's back in WWE. Ronda Rousey did it, and she's in WWE.
I don't know. I don't like Ronda as much anymore. That's just my opinion. But
Her popularity has definitely gone down.
well, I feel like Ronda's always playing the bad bitch. Always, like constantly. Like she can't be the good, unless that's the persona that she basically has at this point. I don't know. I mean, unless you're talking about boxing and stuff, I guess Floyd would sell 1 million.
Again, that's boxing though. I'm talking exclusively.
I just meant in general, but like, I don't know. Masvidal at his prime could do 1 million, maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
So, let's see. I'm trying to see. Well, we can't really use the "Why You Lying" sound effect anymore.
No, not for this story at least.
Not for anything that happened here. But you know what? We did just reach, Nick, the end of the episode.
Wow, you and I clearly went into this thinking this was going to be 3 hours, and we somehow didn't do 3 hours.
Victory!
Wait, that's another sound you just made. Victory screech! I need that one. That one would be good. Oh.
Right.
But in the meantime, yes, we will have a Super Bowl stream coming up on Sunday, February 12th, the day of the Super Bowl. Empty the Bench moves to Thursdays after the Super Bowl. MMA Outsiders is what? When it will be Wednesday?
Yeah, so next week, the MMA Outsiders will move to its new time slot of Wednesday mornings. Empty the Bench will remain next week in its time slot of Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m. So I get a double recording day again next week. Joy. But after that, after the Super Bowl airs, MMA Outsiders will be the only show on Wednesdays. Empty the Bench will move from Wednesdays to Thursdays, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, New Pacific.
Yeah, and then everything else is basically the same.
Beyond the Bench being retooled. We will let you all know when it's coming back.
Yeah, Game On is fine. Fruity Cereal is fine. Living Life has been making new episodes. Actually, speaking of Super Bowl, we just did a Super Bowl episode on Living Life. All Super Bowl food. 2 different types of chilies, actually. Now, I don't know how much you're a chili eater or not.
I'm actually not a chili eater, to be honest with you.
My dad makes this great recipe where it's literally called refrigerator chili. It basically means you go in the refrigerator, you take all the stuff that's pretty much almost ready to be thrown out before it goes. It's still good, and you just throw it into a chili and you make it.
That sounds like an absolutely genius idea. I love it.
Anything from potatoes to meat to spices to, I don't know. Sometimes we'll take like leftover fast food and put it in the chili and we make it weeks at a time. But yeah, we have fun doing that. So if you're looking for Super Bowl food, then go check out episode 35 of Living Life. That dropped last week. If you're looking for Super Bowl plans for food, my niece and nephew, my 4-year-old nephew and my 2-year-old niece both made brownies and blondies from scratch. So that was good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you're trying to attach everything to the Super Bowl as possible here. But yeah, we
still have another week. Don't forget.
We'll have Super Bowl coverage. I mean, I don't know. Are we doing Super Bowl stuff next week, or are we going to wait till the week after?
I mean, we'll talk about it next week. Let's make sure we have content though for the February 12th stream.
Jesus. I mean, thank God the way our podcast is, well, at least our episode will be after we watch the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That would have been awkward as all heck. But yeah, Game On will be back to normal. There was just some scheduling issues. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be hosting this week again with Hank on Game On. Like, if I hadn't done talking about Tom Brady, I'll go do it for another hour and a half.
Enjoy.
But yeah, that'll do it. Make sure you go follow the show on social media at ETB Sports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you follow the Empty the Bench Podcast Network at ETB Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Go follow our website, etbpodcast.com, with our new blog, etbpodcast.com/blog, if you're looking for it, which is everything from sports to entertainment and more. Oy, so much to promote. But yeah, that pretty much does it. 170 episodes in the books.
All right.
To 170 more.
Yes. For Nick Morgasen, I'm Tom Albano. We'll see you next week for the start of Super Bowl coverage.
Woo! See you next week, everybody.
Take care.